Alright, so this morning I figured we did those videos with this old 6311 bearing from Japan. What do you know? And since the bearing is bad, before it goes back into the scrap bin, why not show you guys how you can save the balls in these ball bearings by cutting them out. Now this is hardened steel, so you can't just put it through a bandsaw or cut it in a more, I guess, conventional method. So you're going to want to have an angle grinder with a cutting wheel set up on it, because the cutting wheel will actually cut through the harder material. Because you have to cut out the outer race to get this the cage piece with all the balls separated from the outer race, and then you can knock out each ball out of its cage piece with a punch and a hammer. Now, of course, my bigger punch is nowhere to be found right now, MIA. And why would you cut out balls out of a ball bearing, you might ask? Well, you can make, like I did a while ago, I made a set of various sizes. I welded a different size ball bearing onto a piece of steel, and I use these if I need to punch out gaskets, if I'm making a gasket for a pump flange or what have you. But many uses, this is just one of them, and that's why you would do this. So let's set the phone up and I will get to cutting. Alright, so that's one side cut, and then I'll cut the other side, and the two pieces of the outer race will come apart in half, and then we can get to that inner race part. And I realize the phone's pretty shaky on the same bench as what I'm cutting, so I'll have to move the phone elsewhere. chisel to get into that gap, but let's see if it'll just knock off. And it will. So there's the inside of a ball bearing. This one specifically, like I said, is 6311. And there's each ball within its cage. And we'll try it with the punch. You might need a little... So probably just get this one ball out, because sometimes you might have to cut the cage right here to split the cage. Then you can get the whole cage out, but we could actually get in here and pry out a ball. And look at that. Hopefully that's coming up on camera. I got the pry bar underneath the ball. It's almost out. Look at that. Winner, winner. Man, that had some velocity to it. So there you go. There's one ball out, and then you can take out the rest. And when you're going at it with the cutting wheel, make sure that you're cutting in a space that's between two balls. You don't want to cut into a ball. Then your ball will have a cutting mark groove in it, instead of being perfectly round with little to no imperfections. That's what you want. And then a little bit less dramatic fashion, we got number 2. Okay, now once you get the first one out, the others should go a little easier. So, okay, we got 4 out so far. And then the cage with the balls will actually spin in between the inner race and outer race. You can just rotate it around. It's 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, not too bad. And then additionally, you can save the inner race. Like we'll save it if we have to machine a shaft down to a certain size. Let's say for a 6311 bearing, you can just take the inner race and test fit it onto the shaft that you would machine down to 2 and 165.5 thousandths or 2 and 166 even thousandths of an inch. Here's this is just the bearing shield that's can be tossed. You keep those on if you're not going to grease the bearings in application, but this is the cage. It holds all your balls. And I used to cut it with a cutting wheel right here to split it, and then you can take it apart, and then it's easier to knock out all the balls. But in this case, I've actually found out a better way. I can just take the pry bar and just get in underneath and pry the ball up out of each cage spot. Okay, so that's that. I want to thank you guys for watching. We'll clean this up with some brake clean and a rag, and we have a good inner race still, and we have a piece of hardened steel for whatever we want to use it for. So as you can see, this one bearing has a little wear mark right here, or maybe that's where I accidentally touched with the cutting wheel. But not to worry, because the other 7 are still in good condition, and I can add those to my collection. And I'll take you over to the toolbox, and here's here's the collection right here. You see we got various different sizes, and I even have, so I'll add these to the collection, I even have a ceramic ball bearing, which I really need to come across one in the scrap bin so I can cut out more of these. It's got this like smoked look to it, but that is a ceramic ball bearing. Very cool. And there you go. You maybe learned something new today. All right, take care.